Late-night television had become a staple of American entertainment, offering biting commentary and humor that often pushed boundaries. One evening, in a bustling Burbank, California studio, an audience gathered to watch a well-known host deliver his signature politically charged monologue. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and laughter as the host took jabs at various public figures, a routine his audience had come to expect. But that night, the laughter took a turn when the host aimed his sharp humor at Barron Trump, the youngest son of former First Lady Melania Trump and former President Donald Trump. The joke was brief but pointed, targeting the teenager who had largely stayed out of the public eye. As the punchline landed, the reaction in the room was mixed. Some laughed hesitantly, unsure of whether the comment had gone too far, while others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The remark was not just a casual quip, it struck a nerve, appearing as a personal attack on the young individual who had no political role or public platform. By the next morning, the moment had gone viral. Social media platforms were flooded with hashtags like Barron Trump, with opinions from both sides of the debate filling timelines. While some defended the joke as a form of comedy, others condemned it as tasteless and inappropriate. In Palm Beach, Florida, Melania Trump came across the clip and was stunned. As a mother, she had always made it a priority to shield her son from the chaos and scrutiny of public life. The remark felt not only like an attack on Barron, but also a personal affront to her efforts to protect him. Melania decided she couldn't let this slide. Driven by her maternal instinct, she immediately began drafting a statement to address the incident. However, as the controversy gained momentum and criticism mounted, she realized that words alone would not suffice. Determined to make a stand, she made a bold decision she would take legal action. The following day, Melania's team released a carefully worded statement condemning the host's comment. Her message was direct, yet measured, calling out the joke as harmful and crossing the boundaries of decency. While the statement resonated with many of her supporters, it did little to quell the growing media frenzy. As wasn't just about a comment on late-night television anymore, it had become a broader discussion about the limits of comedy and the ethics of targeting individuals who had no active role in public affairs. Melania, however, was resolute. She sought the counsel of one of the country's most formidable defamation attorneys, a lawyer renowned for high-profile cases and an unflinching commitment to justice. Together, they filed a lawsuit against the host and his network, alleging defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Legal filing outlined the incident in stark detail, framing the joke as more than a misstep. It was an attack on Barron's dignity and right to privacy. The argument wasn't about stifling free speech, but about drawing a line between humor and harm. As news of the lawsuit broke, the story quickly became a media sensation. News outlets dissected every angle, from the legal merits of the case to the cultural implications. Supporters of the Trump family applauded Melania's actions, hailing her as a fierce mother defending her son. Critics, however, accused her of using the lawsuit as a means of reclaiming relevance or silencing dissent. Amid the uproar, Barron remained out of the spotlight. Friends close to the family described him as a reserved teenager who avoided the media circus surrounding his family. Melania's actions, however, sent a clear message. Her fight was not about her public image, but about protecting her son. The impact of the lawsuit was immediate. Advertisers began to distance themselves from the late-night show, concerned about the negative press. The host, known for his confidence and sharp wit, appeared visibly subdued in subsequent broadcasts. Despite the backlash, he refused to apologize, defending the joke as a protected form of free speech and framing the lawsuit as an attack on comedy itself. His defiance only fueled the controversy, drawing even more attention to the case. The debate spilled beyond television screens and social media platforms, becoming a topic of discussion in workplaces, classrooms, and homes across the country. The lawsuit sparked intense public discourse. Supporters of Melania's actions argued that there should be limits to what can be justified as comedy, particularly when it involves minors. Parents, in particular, resonated with her stance, flooding social media with messages of support. Protecting our children should never be up for debate. Read one viral post, accompanied by a photo of Barron during his father's presidency. On the other hand, critics rallied around the late-night host, warning that the lawsuit could set a dangerous precedent for creative expression. Comedians and talk show hosts defended their embattled colleague, asserting that satire has always been a critical tool for challenging power and that public figures, including their families, are fair game. So the controversy escalated, with discussions about free speech and the ethics of comedy dominating headlines. College campuses held debates on the limits of satire, while small-town diners buzzed with conversations about whether the host had crossed the line. The story had grown beyond Melania and Barron, evolving into a cultural reckoning over what society is willing to tolerate in the name of entertainment. Meanwhile, the host doubled down, using his monologues to portray himself as a victim of censorship. His supporters cheered him on, but critics noted a shift in his tone. The once charismatic figure now seemed burdened by the weight of the controversy, his humor taking on a sharper, more defensive edge. Behind the scenes, Melania's legal team worked tirelessly to strengthen their case. They submitted additional evidence and statements, painting a vivid picture of how the comment had impacted Barron and his family. The stakes were high, not just for Melania and the host, but for the broader conversation about the boundaries of modern entertainment. As the legal battle intensified, networks began to feel the pressure. Ratings for the late-night show dipped and whispers of executive unease circulated. The lawsuit was no longer just a personal fight, it was shaping up to be a pivotal moment in the cultural landscape. When the trial finally began in Los Angeles Superior Court, it became a media spectacle. Paparazzi swarmed the courthouse, capturing images of Melania arriving with her legal team, her expression resolute. The host, flanked by his attorneys, appeared equally determined, his face set in a steely gaze. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. This wasn't just a trial, it was a referendum on the role of comedy in society. The prosecution opened with a compelling argument, emphasizing the distinction between humor and cruelty. They played the clip of the joke in question, the sound reverberating in the silent courtroom. Melania's attorney described the emotional toll the incident had taken on Barron, portraying him as a teenager caught in the crossfire of media sensationalism. This case isn't about limiting free speech, the lawyer argued. It's about safeguarding a child's right to privacy and dignity. The defense, however, leaned heavily on the First Amendment. They presented decades of legal precedent supporting the protection of satire and framed the host as a misunderstood artist challenging societal norms. At one point, the host took the stand, delivering an impassioned testimony about his career and the importance of pushing boundaries in comedy. His words resonated with his supporters, but critics questioned whether his justification held up in this particular context. The courtroom became a battleground of clashing ideologies. Witnesses for the prosecution included Barron's former teachers, who testified about how the incident had affected his schooling and mental well-being. The defense countered with testimonies from prominent comedians who passionately defended satire as an essential form of cultural commentary. Public interest in the trial reached a fever pitch, with every detail scrutinized by the media. As the trial unfolded, it became clear that the outcome would have far-reaching implications. The case was no longer just about a single joke or a single family. It was about the broader question of how society defines the limits of free expression and the responsibility that comes with it. For Melania, the fight was deeply personal, a mother's unwavering stand to protect her child. For the host, it was a battle to defend his craft and his principles. And for the nation, it was a moment of reckoning, forcing a collective reflection on the values and boundaries of modern entertainment. Often, late-night television had always been a staple of American entertainment, offering audiences a mix of satire, wit, and commentary on the day's events. But one fateful evening, in a bustling studio in Burbank, California, the tone of a late-night monologue took a sharp turn. The host, known for his edgy humor and provocative remarks, decided to make Barron Trump, the youngest son of Melania and Donald Trump, the target of a biting joke. The comment, though brief, was far from harmless. It struck a nerve, and the ripple effects were immediate and far-reaching. The audience's reaction was divided. Some laughed hesitantly while others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The joke wasn't just a playful jab, it was a calculated remark aimed at a teenager who had largely stayed out of the public eye. Within hours, clips of the segment spread like wildfire across social media. Hashtags like Barron Trump and Protect Tour Kids began trending on Twitter and Instagram. The debate quickly escalated, with supporters of the Trump family and defenders of the host clashing in heated exchanges. While some argued that the joke was tasteless and crossed ethical boundaries, others defended it as a form of free expression and satire. News outlets picked up the story, dissecting it from every angle and reigniting discussions about the limits of comedy. At her home in Palm Beach, Melania Trump watched the viral clip in disbelief. As a mother, she had always prioritized shielding Barron from the chaos and scrutiny of public life. Seeing her son become the punchline of a national joke was both infuriating and heartbreaking. It wasn't just an attack on Barron, it was an attack on her family. Determined to take action, Melania began drafting a statement to address the situation. However, she quickly realized that words alone wouldn't suffice. The insult demanded a stronger response, one that would make a statement not just for her son, but for every child subjected to public ridicule. The next morning, Melania's team released a carefully worded statement condemning the host's remarks as inappropriate and harmful. While her supporters rallied behind her, the controversy only seemed to grow. Melania's anger turned into resolve. For years, she had endured criticism and mockery as a public figure, but this attack on Barron was deeply personal. she decided to escalate the matter, hiring a renowned defamation attorney to file a lawsuit against the host and the network that aired his show. The legal action alleged defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, framing the incident as a violation of a child's right to privacy and dignity. The lawsuit quickly became a media sensation. Cable news channels aired endless debates about its implications, and social media was ablaze with opinions. While Melania's supporters praised her for standing up as a protective mother, critics accused her of overreacting and using the lawsuit to stay relevant. Barron, meanwhile, remained out of the spotlight. Family friends described him as a quiet, reserved teenager who avoided the media frenzy surrounding his family. For Melania, however, the case wasn't about publicity, it was about principle. She wanted to send a clear message that children should be off limits, regardless of their family's prominence. Area Lee trial unfolded under the watchful eyes of the nation. The courtroom became a stage for clashing ideologies, with each side presenting compelling arguments. Barron's former teachers testified about his gentle demeanor and how the media's scrutiny had affected his academic and personal life. On the other hand, the defense called on comedians who passionately argued that satire and humor were essential tools for societal critique. The host himself took the stand, delivering an emotional testimony about his career and how the lawsuit threatened to stifle creative expression. He framed himself as a defender of free speech, emphasizing the importance of challenging authority through comedy. Public interest in the case reached a fever pitch. News outlets analyzed every courtroom detail, from Melania's composed demeanor to the host's fiery rebuttals. Late-night shows across the country avoided jokes about the trial, wary of becoming entangled in the controversy. But just as the proceedings seemed to follow a predictable rhythm, an unexpected twist changed everything. On an otherwise routine day in court, the prosecution announced a surprise witness, William Carter, a former production assistant who had worked on the host show for over 5 years. Carter's testimony would alter the trajectory of the trial and shift public perception. T-Well, calm but determined, Carter described the behind-the-scenes culture of the show, painting a picture of an environment where pushing boundaries often overshadowed ethical considerations. However, it wasn't his general observations that stunned the courtroom, it was the specific evidence he provided. Carter presented a collection of emails, scripts, and internal communications that revealed the joke about Barron Trump had been premeditated. According to the documents, the remark had been debated, revised, and approved by senior executives at the network. And particularly damning email read, "Controversy drives ratings, let's push it." The revelation sent shockwaves through the courtroom and the media industry. For the first time, the focus shifted away from the host and toward the corporate machinery that had enabled and encouraged the incident. The defense scrambled to distance the host from the network's decisions, arguing that he had acted independently. But the damage was done. Carter's testimony exposed a toxic culture where sensationalism was prioritized over integrity. Outside the courtroom, the revelation sparked a media firestorm. Headlines criticized the network's practices, and several executives were placed on administrative leave pending internal investigations. Sponsors began pulling their support from the show, and the host found himself increasingly isolated. As the trial reached its conclusion, tensions ran high. The courtroom was packed with journalists, supporters, and critics, all eager to witness the verdict. In her closing argument, Melania's attorney delivered a powerful plea. This case is not about silencing comedy, she said. It's about accountability. Words have power, and when those words target a child, they cross a line. The defense, though weakened, warned of the broader implications of the case. They argued that a ruling against the host could set a dangerous precedent, curbing creative freedom and discouraging satire. After hours of deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict. The host was found liable for defamation, and the network was ordered to pay substantial damages for fostering a culture of sensationalism. The judge clarified that the ruling was not an attack on free speech, but a recognition of the harm caused by irresponsible humor. For Melania, the verdict was a bittersweet victory. She had fought for her son and won, but the journey had been emotionally and mentally exhausting. In a brief statement to the press, she expressed hope that the case would inspire greater respect and care in public discourse. The fallout was swift and far-reaching. The host show was placed on indefinite hiatus, and his reputation as a comedic trailblazer was tarnished. Networks across the industry began implementing stricter oversight, recognizing the risks of prioritizing controversy over ethics. These comedians reevaluated their material, striving to strike a balance between challenging norms and respecting boundaries. The case also sparked a national conversation about the responsibilities that come with free speech. Parents, educators, and media professionals reflected on the impact of words, especially when directed at vulnerable individuals. One mother's viral post encapsulated the sentiment of many. If Melania Trump can face this kind of battle for her son, what does that mean for the rest of us? This isn't just about Barron, it's about protecting all our children. The trial became a cultural milestone, reminder that while humor can unite, it can also harm. The responsibility to use words wisely rests with everyone, from late-night hosts to everyday individuals. As the dust settled, the nation continued to grapple with the profound questions raised by the case. Where do we draw the line between humor and harm? How do we balance creative freedom with accountability? While the trial may have officially ended, its lessons remain more relevant than ever, reminding us of the importance of compassion, respect, and thoughtful discourse in our society. This story is a testament to the power of standing up for what's right, even in the face of controversy, and it challenges us to reflect on the impact of our words and actions. Whether you agree with Melania Trump's approach or not, her unwavering determination to protect her son has left an indelible mark on the conversation about modern entertainment and its ethical boundaries. Thank you so much for watching this video and taking the time to dive into this fascinating story with me. If you enjoyed this content or found it thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on more captivating and inspiring stories like this one. Together, let's continue to explore the stories that shape our world. See you in the next video.